everyone, and welcome to the Hunger Games 2024. Every year I put random characters in the Hunger Games using this website, brownscale.net, which is basically a Hunger Games simulator. It's custom events, custom characters, and all that stuff. This year will be a bit different, because I want this video to be my magnum opus of editing. So if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna need a lot of time. So this video was recorded months in advance. Another reason it's different is because I'm leaving all of the default events in. There are custom events, but before we proceed, let's introduce our characters. So District 1, we have me. You know me, I'm me. District 2, we have my best friend, Doug Gaming, or Doug. By the way, I'm sorry if the pictures are low quality this time. I forgot how I got them to look somewhat decent last year. In District 2, we have FNFBF and FNFGF.
That's how you do it.
You know, there's staples I have to have every year. And I'm pretty sure last year BF didn't do so good, but I'm pretty sure GF lasted pretty far, which is to be expected. District 3, we have Pico and Softy from the Friday Night Funkin' Soft mod. Now I thought, since, you know, Soft is getting an update soon, it may already be out by the time you're watching this video, why not include the two protagonists in it? Although Pico isn't really a protagonist since he really just sits there. District 4, we have my OC, Sammy. Sammy's not really important. All you have to know is that he's the boyfriend. All you need to know is that he's the boyfriend of this next character, Beth. Now, the thing about Beth is that she's BF and GF's future daughter. There's a lot of lore behind that. And all you need to know right now is that she's afraid of grapes and knives. District 5, we have, okay, we're starting to get into the memes. We have Peter Mellark from the original Hunger Games. I don't know why I didn't just use his image from the default cast. And Fortnite Peter Griffin.
Holy crap, I'm in Fortnite! Oh my gosh, this is so freaking epic!
Specifically the Fortnite version, because the Fortnite version could beat your ass, let's be real. I put them together so I could have the two Pitas in the same district. In District 6, we have Katniss Everdeen, again, another protagonist from the Hunger Games, along with Jonesy. Some of you may know him as Tifu, others may know him as the guy from Fortnite. District 7, we have Lois Griffin and the horse.
Peter. The horse is here.
You know I had to include the horse. This state we have Glamrock Freddy.
Have you ever heard of Among Us, Gregory?
And Gregory. We have a dynamic duo from FNAF. District 9 we have Roxanne Wolf.
Pay attention to me.
And Cassie.
You're not Gregory. What are you?
From a Ruin DLC. I'm just saying, if the roles were reversed and Roxy and Cassie were the characters for Security Breach, and Freddy and Gregory were the characters for Ruin, I think the Roxy-Cassie dynamic would have been a bit better than Freddy and Gregory, but I digress. District 10, we have two Wings of Fire characters. Peril of the Sky Wings, she is a living fireball. And we have Tsunami of the Sea Wings. I used a very appropriate image for both of them. District 11, I have a literal Canadian flag. I don't know how a flag's gonna win, but it is. And we have Stan Smith from American Dad. And hopefully this video doesn't start political debates, but District 12, we have Nate Adams from Yokai Watch and Katie Forrester from Yokai Watch. They're always in the same district. Now, without further ado, let's proceed. The bloodbath. As the tributes stand on their podium, the horn sounds. Gregory runs away from a cornucopia. GF scares Lois Griffin away from a cornucopia. A literal Canadian flag runs away from a cornucopia. Softy takes the sickle from inside the cornucopia. He's gonna start killing people. Doug takes the sickle from the cornucopia. Roxanne Wolf runs away from a cornucopia. Katniss Everdeen takes the sickle from the cornucopia. Fortnite Peter Griffin grabs the backpack and retreats. Nate Adam runs away from a cornucopia. Katie Forrester runs away from a cornucopia. Peril befriends a rock. That's one of my events. I run into the cornucopia and hide. To be honest, I'm not sure if I'd actually make it to the cornucopia. Pico runs away from a cornucopia. Peter Mellark runs away from a cornucopia. This is canon. Cassie finds a backpack full of camping equipment. Tsunami finds a backpack full of camping equipment. Glamrock Freddy is unable to convince BF not to kill him. Boyfriend, please, I'm begging you. No! Fuck you! While Horse grabs a jar of fishing bait while Sammy gets the fishing gear. I like imagine Sammy just riding on the horse's back. Oh yeah, another thing about Sammy's kind of a softie, so I can't imagine him doing this. Beth grabs a backpack, not realizing it's empty. With every mistake she makes, she gets more pixelated. Stan Smith runs away from a cornucopia. Jonesy grabs a sword. Ooh, maybe it's the Infinity Blade. Sammy begs for Gregory to kill him. He refuses, keeping Sammy alive. Stan Smith questions his sanity. Katie Forrester discovers a cave. Beth receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. A literal Canadian flag fishes for firewood. Okay. GF, Tsunami, Cassidy, the Horse, and Pico hunt for other tributes. Carol cries after realizing Yokai Watch 4 isn't getting localized. Roxanne Wolf and Peter Mellark split up to search for resources. Doug, Lois, Griffin, Katniss Everdeen, BF, and Softy hunt for other tributes. I question my sanity. Nate cries after realizing Yokai Watch 4 isn't getting localized. This is canon. He's literally the protagonist. This is canon. Two cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Glamrock Freddy and Fortnite Peter Griffin. Peter Mellark tries to sing himself to sleep. Doug quietly hums. Jonesy starts a fire. Pico thinks about winning. The Horse thinks about winning. Cassie climbs a tree to rest. A literal Canadian flag and Peril run into each other and decide the truth for the night. Oxen Wolf tends to Sammy's wounds. Katie Forster receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Beth and X and BF tell stories about themselves to each other. BF starts a fire. Gregory cannot handle the circumstances and commits suicide. Liz Griffin can't sleep because she's imagining fake scenarios in her head. I fend Sophie, Katniss, and Nate away from my fire. Jam Smith tries to sing himself to sleep. Good night, USA. I have a feeling it's gonna be a terrible night. Tsunami sees a fire but stays hidden. I try to sleep for the entire day. Cassie tends to Peeta's wounds. Roxy, GF, BF, and Doug rate Nate's camp while he's hunting. Peril tries to spear a fish with its trident. Girl, you have claws you could stab the fish with. What do you mean? Sabby stalks Pico. Katniss Everdeen thinks about home. Beth, Lois Griffin, Stan Smith, and Tsunami raid Katie's camp while she is hunting. A literal Canadian flag practices its archery. Sophie goes hunting. While Horse searches for firewood. Jonesy makes a slingshot. One cannon shot can be heard in the distance. Gregory from District 8. The Horse receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Cassie tends to Nate's wounds. Roxy, Stan, and Lois cheerfully stick dogs together. Beth and Pico run into each other and decide the truth for the night. Sammy can't sleep because he's imagining fake scenarios in his head. Peril and a literal Canadian flag hold hands. Doug lets PETA into his shelter. Jonesy stays awake all night. Katie climbs a tree to rest. Tsunami lets BF into her shelter. Sophie can't sleep because he's imagining fake scenarios in his head. Katniss cooks her food before putting out her fire. Katie Forrester runs away from FNF BF. She's probably at least twice his height. A literal Canadian flag goes hunting. Doug begs for Nate to kill him. He refuses, keeping Doug alive. Lois Griffin begs for Stan Smith to kill her. He refuses, keeping her alive. Tsunami stalks Beth. GF explores the arena. Katniss steals from Sammy while he isn't looking. Cassie receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Josie cries after realizing Yokai Watch 4 ain't getting localized. Peril overhears Pico and Sophie talking into a distance. Peeta Mellark receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Horse searches for firewood. I receive medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Roxy receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Roxanne Wolf receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Peril, the Horse, BF, and Tsunami tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Lois, Peeta, Beth, Katniss, and a literal Canadian flag sleep in shifts. Sophie receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Katie Forrester can't sleep because she's imagining fake scenarios in her head. Doug, me, and Stan cheerfully sing songs together. Pico destroys Jonesy's supplies while he is asleep. Sammy attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. GF cooks her food before putting her fire out. Nate receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Cassie receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Pico, Katie, and Bev hunt for other tributes. PETA searches for a water source. Stan Smith discovers a cave. Cassie tries to spear a fish with a trident. Lois Griffin and Jonesy become friends. Roxanne Wolf discovers a cave. BS searches for firewood. Katniss diverts Nate's attention and runs away. Doug and Peril hunt for other tributes. Sam receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. GF collects fruit from a tree. Softy receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Donami searches for a water source. The horse receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. I explore the arena. Stan Smith tends to Jonesy's wounds. Softy is awoken by nightmares. Lois Griffin tries dusting herself to sleep. Cassie and Doug talk about the other tributes still alive. The horse and Katie huddle for warmth. Carol thinks about wedding. Beth screams for help. Peter Miller starts a fire. Nate Adams and a little Canadian flag hold hands. Roxanne, Wolf, Sammy, and GF carefully sing songs together. Katniss tends to BF wounds. Carol questions her sanity. Pico tries to spear a fish with a trident. Tsunami receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. GF and Stan hunt for other tributes. Doug tends to Cassie's wounds. Nate attempts to climb a tree but falls on Jonesy, killing them both. Tina Mellar cries after realizing Yokai Warring getting localized. Katniss Everdeen practices her archery. 2 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Carol looks up at the night sky. Beth goes to sleep. Tsunami tries to sing herself to sleep. Roxanne Wolf kills Pico with his own weapon. Katniss Everdeen tends to Stan Smith's wounds. PETA and the little Canadian flag hold hands. FNF tries to treat his infection. The horse cooks his food before putting his fire out. FNF and I talk about the tribute still alive. Sammy quietly hums. Lois Griffin receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Doug starts a fire. Katie attempts to climb a tree but falls to her death. BF cries after realizing Yokai Warring getting localized. Sammy searches for firewood. Beth injures herself. Cassie is pricked by thorns. Roxanne Wolf kills Carol with a hatchet. Tsunami travels to higher ground. Doug, a little Canadian flag, and the horse hunt for other tributes. GF injures herself. Lois Griffin practices her archery. I camouflage myself in the bushes. Softy discovers a cave. Katniss tries to spear a fish with a trident. Peeta goes hunting. 3 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. The horse can't sleep because Doug is snoring in his sleep. I defeat Stan Smith in a fight but spare his life. Beth loses sight of where she is. Lois Griffin convinces GF to snuggle with her. Cassie quietly hums. BF convinces Peeta Mylark to snuggle with him. Sammy starts a fire. Roxanne Wolf tends to Tsunami's wounds. Katniss receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Softy cooks his food before putting out his fire. I make a wooden spear. Softy and GF work together for the day. Lois Griffin tries to spear a fish with a trident. The horse defeats Tsunami in a fight but spares her life. Cassie makes a wooden spear. Roxanne Wolf thinks about home. BF begs for Beth to kill him. She refuses, keeping him alive. Katniss Everdeen scares Peeta Mellark off. Softy defeats Roxanne Wolf in a fight but spares her life. Katniss stabs Beth with a tree branch. The horse thinks about home. Doug and Katniss run into each other in a sight of trees for a night. Tsunami tends to Peeta's wounds. GF begs for Lois to kill her. She refuses, keeping her alive. A little Canadian flag receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. BF convinces Stan Smith because Sammy stays awake all night. Softy runs away from Lois Griffin. FNF BF fishes. GF and Katniss Everdeen split up to search for resources. Peg receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Cassie tends to Roxy's wounds. Sammy and Tsunami fight the horse and a little Canadian flag. The horse and the little Canadian flag survive. Arena event. The storm circle starts shrinking. I use an impulse grenade to push Doug into the storm. He dies. Stan Smith makes it to the next storm zone. Lois Griffin makes it to the next storm zone. A little Canadian flag makes it to the next storm zone. Cassie lets BF onto her ATK. They still can't escape. Katniss Everdeen makes it to the next storm zone. Softy barely dies before he escapes. Roxy trips over a rock and falls too far behind the zone. BF makes it to the next storm zone. The horse makes it to the next storm zone. Peeta makes it to the next storm zone. 8 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Peeta loses sight of where he is. Lois and Katniss sleep at ship. I can't sleep because I'm imagining fake scenarios in my head. A little Canadian flag with GF into its shelter. I am unable to convince the horse not to kill me. Katniss, Lois, Stan, Peeta, and GF track down and kill a little Canadian flag. GF attacks Lois, but the horse protects her, killing GF. Katniss Everdeen runs away from Stan Smith. Katniss sets an explosive off, killing Stan Smith and Peeta. The horse severely injures Katniss and leaves her to die. Lois Griffin falls into a pit and dies. The winner of this year's Hunger Games is the horse. No words. So that, folks, was the Hunger Games 2024. Tune in next year for another wacky adventure. Don't forget to like and subscribe.